Sorry about that.
It's all right. All right, so this is Finn High School's personal finance challenge.
I'm Joseph Gilman.
I'm
Bernie Langman. Yeah.
So first we outline the kind of goals and objectives and how to approach the situation. So first we're telling Mr. and Miss Brody to balance their budget and reduce their spending because these habits kind of carry on and are good to develop first off so that all these other aspects of their finances can kind of be balanced. So then the second thing we said was establish an emergency fund, only because you never know when something tragic could happen and it's always best to be prepared. So planning 3 to 6 months of their expenses, which is when we also said balance their budget first so they can figure that out as an individual month. Next we said eliminate their credit card debt, and then life insurance followed suit because both of these kind of help finance later on. Then starting their retirement account and moving closer to dreams for parents, aiding their children's like education, any family vacations, and individual travel are also something they can wait a little bit further on until they kind of handle their credit card debt and kind of handle all their other finances that are being experienced on their trip.
All right, so this is your guys' current financial position. So for outflows, there were quite a bit of expenses. You had, and I'm just going to go over a few of these key ones to avoid, lagging this. But $100 in your 401k per month, you have $1,300 per month for your mortgage, lots of credit card payments, student loans, trucks, cars, gas, health insurance. A lot of those things are necessary, but not to the extent of which you're spending them. Fitness memberships, internet service, daycare, donations, lawn care, and just standard utilities. So we figured that this would be around $7,091 per month for your total outgoing monthly expenses with the information that you provided us. Now for inflows, we included your federal subsidy for last year, but we calculated that to be around $95,200 per year, and so that would be around $7,900 a month. So you have a current excess of $842 a month, and that is not including like basic necessities, like if you go to the grocery store and buy something, if you break your computer and you buy a new one, like those aren't included, so that's not exactly a great number to have. Now for assets, you have $500 in your savings account, $50,000 for inheritance, which you put into Bitcoin, $2,400 for a 401k, $4,000 IRA. You have around $83,000 in your home equity after the mortgage. So that would be around $24,000 in assets, and $84,000 of that was also the value of your cars and your side-by-side. So for liabilities, there are quite a bit, 160-ish in mortgage, 1,000 credit cards amounted for quite a bit for your balances. And then there was balances on your truck, your car lease, and your side-by-side, which all added up to be around $208,000 in liabilities. So the difference between those two was $16,267. So your net worth was only $16,000. And for a current family of 4, the average, I believe, is $120,000 in net worth. So that is very subpar.
Here are some answers to your guys' concerns. Should you guys create a combined savings and checkings account? It's practical to combine your guys' finances to the point you guys can both enjoy like the convenience of not worrying about your bills. You guys can bring that together and pay that together. How much you guys receive from Social Security when you retire. If you start collecting your benefits at age 65, you will receive approximately $333,000 per year, or about close to $3,000 a month. How much should you be putting away for your students' education loans? Well, we recommend purchasing and setting up a 529 plan, which is very similar to a 401k, which comes right out of your paycheck, goes in, and does not affect student aid in the long run. For life insurance for children, there is no need to buy life insurance for your children. The only job of life insurance is to replace the income of the person who has died, and who has ever heard of income in a child. And is there anything you can do to lower the amount of money you pay for car insurance? Compare prices among insurers and take advantage of all the discounts you can and drive safe.
So our recommendations here. What we're looking at is our plan of action. There's, as we saw earlier, a lot of heavy outflows, and it's really combating the minor but consistent inflows from the income. So we're going to need some money to work with. Immediately from the inheritance, you bought a Bitcoin and did nothing with it. While that price value has dropped, we still need to sell that and use that money right now to focus on what needs to get done. We need to pay off all credit card debts because while it's helpful to be able to spend money now using credit cards, having 4 separate credit cards all accumulating interest and debt at the same time is a horrible thing to have. So we're going to pay those off immediately, cancel the ones we don't need, and preferably consolidate all of our finances into one credit union under a single credit card and only one accumulating interest over time. Next, we need to stop paying so much on vehicles. One very helpful thing to have right now is an ending vehicle lease. We're not going to release that. That's an outcome that we only need maximum 2 vehicles for a family of 4. You're the only 2 drivers. There's no need for 3 vehicles. So we're going to cut our losses with the 4 that's on lease right now, and preferably be able to sell one of the other 2 vehicles if it's not necessary, but that can be necessary. So we'll keep paying those for now if possible. Gas prices are also extremely high with our current economic situation nationally, so I would invest in probably walking to work if possible, or a bike and getting to other places like that. Lowering these kind of payments is going to free up a lot more money in the long term, and we're going to be able to look at what we can do with that increased income. So now we want to start lowering all of our erroneous spending. We're spending a lot on internet and entertainment. We've got a lot of plans. We've got like 5 to 7 different streaming services. Absolutely do not need. We can get that down to 1, and that'll free up like $100 to $150 a month. Our unnecessary vacations. You express wanting to go on a family vacation for a year, but we're going out with friends a lot every week. We're going on vacations separately. That can be cut immediately right now, and that'll save money yearly. Gifts, the phones that you have right now are gifts, so those are completely paid off. But the plan that you have right now is extremely excessive for your financial plan, so we can lower that to a minimum of a low tier 4G or a high 3G plan that will still work for your needs, but is much cheaper and much more applicable. Now we've got more money to work with monthly. We've lowered our outputs, and now we're going to have a better input to work with. So the most important things that you expressed wanting to work on were the emergency fund, insurance providers, and other things like college funds. So the first thing you want to tackle with the extra money you have left over for your Bitcoin, and over time with the money income flow that we'll now have more of, is put that into your emergency fund. The $500 in there right now is not nearly enough. Anything can happen, so I would start by putting at least $5,000 in now and adding to that every month, just in case something would have happened. Now we can switch our insurance providers because your deductible is extremely low. Even an emergency fund for an extreme surgery isn't going to be super helpful if your insurance deductible isn't going to help with that at all. And now, other than that, there's a lot of goals that you've expressed, like your college funds and going on your family vacations. With your increased monthly income, start saving towards that, setting out different funds for each of those separately. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll be honest, this is the same first question I asked the other groups. What information did you not have that would have been useful for you?
A lot of stuff with earlier here. We have a lot of this kind of information, but there's a lot of stuff like interest rates on the mortgage that we'd like to have, and a lot of very specific financial stuff that I know you talked about.
Yeah, people typically spend a lot more. This is like the essentials of what you're spending, and there's a lot more that could be accounted for. Like I mentioned when I was saying, like daily food trips, if you're gonna pick up kids from the amusement park, you go there, you have entertainment, just all those different types of things, they add up, and that is just the essentials. So if we would have been provided with more, I guess, averages of what you expected to spend on those types of things. We had family vacations and we factored those types of things into your credit cards. But to have a general idea of what you were spending on, your kids, like, okay, birthday presents, like those types of things.
And another thing too, we didn't have like what the Roonies were currently spending on the essentials like food, other kinds of transportation. That would have been very helpful because that can probably have been lowered or set up to a certain standard depending on what that was.
So what did you decide we should do about housing?
So I think we decided that it would be beneficial to move back closer to the parents so that we would not have to fork out that money that if it was not unnecessary for daycare for the kids. Especially as they continue to get older and sporting events and stuff like that, where transportation seems to be an issue with, might have to be an issue with prices and stuff like that. That would even help out a little bit more, being closer to the parents, helping out with things like that as they get older.
That was a very complex issue because we're looking at a lot lower weekly daycare costs if we're able to move closer, but with a family of 4, and especially with how much current balance was on the mortgage, it'd be difficult to move immediately, move swiftly, and move cleanly, and especially if that was going to be worth putting less in a daycare weekly. And so we decided that while moving, when it's in a positive housing market, that would be beneficial for the family, that'd be the best course of action, lower the daycare costs, preferably move close to your parents in any kind of workplace.
So how long did you think it was gonna take them to get out of credit card debt?
Preferably with the Bitcoin balance, that was gonna be almost immediately because we
Okay.
have $40,000 to work with. That's gonna go straight there. One of the very first things we're gonna tackle and merge those into a single card fee.
And a good idea too is to take whatever remaining balance you have after that Bitcoin and put that into your savings or emergency fund, so that way you have that locked in right away and you don't even have to think about it anymore. Because right away you're assuming that you're not really thinking about that Bitcoin because you said that you hadn't really checked up on it. So that would be a good idea since you're not even thinking about it now. If you have that $40,000 minus, like 10 or however much it was, you have around $30,000 for your emergency fund opposed to that 500.
Okay. Is there any, do you have any other questions, anything?
I think it was a very clean presentation, touched everything the way it needed to be touched. I like your answers really on the housing thing. I'm not sure my parents are thrilled about babysitting all the time. We just have to beat them up on that and tell them, if you love your grandkids, then that's what you gotta do.
I think it says in here that they volunteered to do that. I read that somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They actually volunteered to do it, and then.
They didn't beat it though.
Yeah,
You gotta take handouts sometimes when you get them.
Okay, so a question here was the debate about should they have separate banking accounts or joint bank accounts? What do you guys think is the plus and minus of either decision?
So they're gonna be able to better handle their finances as a family with a single bank account. But we know that they like to do separate things with their friends, and stuff like that. It'd be beneficial to have separate accounts. So I wasn't sure what the exact financials were, like number-wise, on the accounts though.
It would also help them hold each other accountable to an extent.
So to have separate or to have a joint?
I have a joint.
Okay. So is that what we decided? I guess I was unclear, what did you guys decide? Are
Oh,
we joining
yeah,
them?
joining
Are we
them,
doing
yeah.
Joining
separate?
them,
Are we
yeah.
doing a combo? Okay,
Joining them, yeah.
we're joining. Okay. I think,
In the real world, it's always the best thing.
no, it's not. No. In the real world, we had one. Now we're separating into two.
But if you do the math diligently, that's probably fine, but it carries some risks.
Well, I guess it too depends on the type of person you are and
It
how you're
do-
gonna
yeah.
spend it, because my parents have a joint one and they're doing just fine. So I mean,
Yeah.
like that's.
It depends on if
yeah.
one of you is the spender and one of you is the saver and who pays the bills.
Yeah.
So part of it is you would have probably needed to ask them that. Like,
Yes, yeah.
That's where, I will say that you were the only group that even mentioned that, even though it was like the first thing that they had on a piece of paper. Nobody else mentioned anything about should they join or not join. So, and what the benefits of either one would have been. So, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
guys, appreciate it.